It's been almost 30 years since the first Mortal Kombat game hit arcades, terrifying parents throughout the world with its excessive violence and provocative characters. And nearly 25 games later, not to mention a couple of unapologetically awesome films, the franchise is still going strong with the release of Mortal Kombat 11. But will this latest entry in the series match up to the relatively high bar of its forebears, or will it suffer a critical double uppercut and succumb to the wrath of the TOASTY taunt? To quote a famous skeleton-headed man, "Get over here! And let's find out. Let's take a look at gameplay first, which straight out of the gate I'm happy to report is fantastic. It's a much slower, more methodical feel compared to Mortal Kombat X, so if your only exposure to fighting games is Tekken or Street Fighter, you might find this game takes a little getting used to. But once you do, you'll see why taking things a little slower makes all the difference for the better. Every move feels deliberate and well thought out, and with a heavy emphasis on counters, button bashing won't get you very far. But even if you're not an MLG level competitor yourself, there's still plenty of mechanics in place to make MK11 as fun and competitive for noobs as it is for experienced players. The Fatal Blow system replaces the X-ray moves of the previous games and can be employed to deliver obscene amounts of damage to your opponent if you yourself are 1 or 2 blows away from death. It's a really cool feature which keeps fights competitive right to the bitter end. And what would any half-assed Mortal Kombat video be without a look at the fatalities? The violence preceded by the famous finish him screen is more over the top and wincing-inducing than ever. And sometimes I just have to sit back and think about that this is someone's job to brainstorm this, and then I get very, very jealous. But it isn't just the fatalities that innovate on the violence, with environmental attacks and special moves also triggering X-ray vision to see every bone-shattering impact. The narrative of recent Mortal Kombat games has been one of the series' highlights, offering a depth that trounces the competition and gives real substance to the single-player experience. MK11 continues this impressive trend and then some, taking place immediately after the events of 10, during which Shinnok has been defeated and a now power-hungry Raiden intends on protecting Earthrealm by destroying all other realms. Enter the mysterious goddess Kronika, who flounces in calling herself the Keeper of Time. In an attempt to bring order to time and space by any means necessary, different characters from different times are thrown together, leading to some gratuitous but fantastic moments of fan service. Now, my personal highlight is the banter between the middle-aged Johnny Cage and his younger, brasher self. Let me tell you, it's genuinely hilarious stuff. And if that all went over your head, don't worry. You really don't need an extensive knowledge of the lore to enjoy this game, and it does a good job of catching you up. With all cutscenes totaling in at around 4 hours long, there's plenty to sink your teeth into before you even touch the equally brilliant multiplayer. And as impressive as the story is, the character design is also absolutely magnificent. With 25 fighters at launch, this may seem a little thin, especially compared to the obnoxiously large roster on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and yes, it counts as a fighting game. But it's the level of customization available for these characters where MK11 really shows off, with each having at least 60 skins, 90 pieces of customizable gear, and a selection of 10 techniques to add on to their core set of abilities. This means you can really make your character your own before heading into the online arena. However, my only slight complaint with MK11 is how you go about unlocking some of these customizations. You can get some playing through the story, but most are unlocked either through the Crypt or the Towers of Time. And for those new to the series, the Crypt is a dungeon area filled with treasure chests that require in-game currency to open. And as the loot is randomized, it can get really frustrating wasting time and resource getting something you either didn't want or for a character you don't use. On the other hand, the Towers of Time are challenge-based gimmick fights which, upon victory, reward you with new items. This is fine in principle, and some of the challenges are fun, but a lot feel like a total grind and really don't add much to the overall experience. Maybe it suffers from the rest of the game being so superior, but when a mode feels more like an obligation than enjoyment, it's gotta go. To wrap up, Mortal Kombat 11 might very well be the best fighting game of this console generation. With refined mechanics, an engaging story, and unparalleled brutality, it's got everything you could want from this beloved franchise. CeX.